Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we're back on the dev server for Update Fire and Ice, and it's time to have a look at a new vehicle that's coming to Sweden. Sweden really is getting all of the high tier MBTs this update, including a T-80U. They're going to get this as a squadron vehicle, weirdly enough, and right now it is pretty much an exact copy of the USSR one. The USSR one is super fun. It's one of my favorite MBTs in the game, just because it actually has a reverse speed compared to all of the other Soviet MBTs, at least in most of the branches. It's why I prefer the T-80s over stuff like the T-72s, because they can actually go backwards instead of just going forwards all the time. And the T-80U is one of the vehicles which has access to quite a lot of nice munitions and also a better reload than other Soviet MBTs in the form of a 6.5 instead of a 7.1. So right now this is in the Swedish tech tree as a squadron vehicle. This isn't on the dev server. Once again, this is just sat in the files, but it was shown on the dev stream as being there. And so instead of just having all of these other vehicles that are coming in, the German and then also the Soviet ones, you also have a T-80U just LARPing there. Waiting to be put into service. So the modifications are exactly the same as the Soviet one. By the way, the reason why there is a connection between Sweden and the T-80U is because in the 90s, the Swedish did a bunch of trials with a bunch of different vehicles because the Swedish were looking to modernize their army. So they're working out what they wanted to buy when it came to aviation and when it came to ground stuff. So they did a bunch of different tests, and one of the things that they tested was of course the T-80U from the USSR. Another thing as well that they tested was the Mi-28 and also the Apache. So this is where these vehicles come from when it comes to Sweden and why they are getting all of these random vehicles, not just from Finland and also the Netherlands, but also the Soviet Union or the USSR or the Russian Federation, depending on what year you're looking at. So it's kind of interesting to see that Sweden's becoming the jack of all trades. The T-80U could also be added to Britain technically, since they were able to pick one up in the grand scheme of things. So that's something to look at as well. The T-80U is a good vehicle though. It suffers in a few ways, but it has pretty decent targeting speed, good mobility, and also a good reload, and it gets access to the 3BM42 ammunition, which you can find here, which is completely fine to be able to penetrate pretty much everything. Does get an 80 gem as well, but most of the time you're not going to use this thing, the 9M119, it's just kind of sat there. Does get access to a thermal package, which is super nice for the vehicle. Basically just gives you gunner thermals, you don't really need anything else. Got the dozer, got the artillery, got all the standard stuff, and also a funny HE shell at the same time. There is some different skins for this thing, so there's at least that, I suppose. Which makes it slightly different, but basically what you're getting here is just another MBT to be able to kind of push forward your lineups for the good old Swedish, which is good. That's what you want in War Thunder. You want competent lineups and you want stuff to push you forward, and that is what this thing will be able to do. So the Swedish won't just be getting a bunch of Leopards, they won't just be getting some T-72s, they'll also be graced with a T-80, which will be coming in, but not as the same way as the other ones. It'll be brought in as a squadron vehicle instead, which is kind of fun as always. So hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd like to thank Forge, Siegebreak, Carrion Crow, Nicholas Richardson, Elove Goat, Pyman, Winter Scientist, Merciless Reaper, Orange Tail, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Moxie, B. Young, and also Sem Arslan, Wilkski, Uncle Bean, Derek R., Bareen, Lafouche, and Samuel Slick for supporting the channel.